Hello! Welcome, everybody. I hope that you had a good night. I hope that you're having a good morning, or a good day, or a good... whatever. Hi! Hi, Polyglum. Hi, Shadows of Life. It's great to see you. Marble engines are indeed ready. We're heading to the Andromeda Galaxy today, because it's been a bit. And it's time to go back to Andromeda. I believe we're still on Havarl. Hi, Simsilica. I don't know what's going on. I had D&D last night. It was fun. Although the whole session was just continuation of a battle that started the previous session. And we're not done yet because more bad guys kept showing up. So while we've defeated the Umber Hulk and the Shardlin Dragon, more Durgar just kept showing up. And we're all like out of spell slots, low on health. It's actually really fun to be challenged in that way. In the course of this battle, I have summoned 2 draconic spirits, which is basically summoning a dragon to fight for you. Two. And of course they were both crystal dragons, because what other kind do you summon? But yeah, my little Kenku lore bard is just like, because the Dwergar can grow big and they have big massive mallets, and so they keep trying to smash my little bird creature. But it's fine. It's totally fine. Massive, indeed, massive Dwergar. Yeah, I don't know. I tried to sleep. I tried to go to sleep last night. I did. And I know I dozed off, but I kept waking up. I know I was awake at 8. And I was like, I should get out of bed. It didn't happen. Every time I was like, I should get out of bed today, it was like, yep, I absolutely should. So I am here, though. I got out of bed to be here for this. I actually did get out of bed, but then I fell asleep on the couch again. Our couch is too comfortable. Our couch is more comfortable than the bed, which is a problem. Anyway, hopefully you all had fun things. I also got to hang out because Eric was streaming last night, and the RP channels on the League of Whimsy server are getting close to being available. So that should be soon, TM. Fate game today. Hopefully it is a good fate. But yeah, today we're going to do Mass Effect Andromeda. Hopefully we'll... I don't know if we'll finish Havarl today, but we should make decent progress on Havarl. Either that or we'll leave and go somewhere else. I can't remember what's required. Tomorrow, Outer Wilds. We've got to be getting close to the end of the DLC at this point. I'm enjoying it too much. I do have archival adventures on Wednesday. Something about energy production. And then, of course, Martian Dreams, which I am enjoying so much. There's a reason Martian Dreams is my favorite of the Ultima games. And I think it's... I honestly don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that we're on Mars. But we made it to the trading outpost and then died in our first encounter with a large Martian creature. So, oops. But it's fine. We'll get past it. I just need to avoid running into that Martian creature, I think. Ended the last game hearing news reports of a riot on the ship. Oh no. Riots generally not good. Making myself brunch to celebrate making it through another work week. Huzzah! Oh, that reminds me, I have to go to work tomorrow. It feels like it's been a while since I was at work, but it also feels like it was yesterday. I haven't been at work since noon on Wednesday because we were closed because there was a holiday in the US. Work week is Tuesday through Saturday. I have been thinking that, because you know that I've definitely missed Saturdays or Sundays here or there. I used to not stream both Saturday and Sunday, which gave me one day a week where I did not have work or a stream. I may need to go back to that, but I haven't figured out how to rearrange things because I don't want to give anything up. But having a day off every week was certainly something that was good for me. So I may need to adjust the schedule a little bit, but your work week is whenever you work on writing. Oh, that honestly sounds great. I wonder what my life would be like if my work time was whenever I worked on work. That just seems potentially disastrous, potentially wonderful, and like such a much easier way of doing life. I don't know. Can you imagine what it would be like if people got to work on things they loved doing at times that worked good for them? Because honestly, my most productive hours of the day are hours when society expects me to be asleep. And the hours that my body wants to be asleep are hours when society expects me to be awake and productive. It makes for a very difficult time. You're almost always working on some kind of writing, but it's something that you enjoy, right? Like, it doesn't feel like you're compelled to do it. You're doing it because you love doing it. At least that's the impression I get. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, I love writing. Good. Yeah. See, that is how things should be. I'm actually going to bring the game up on screen. We can, of course, continue chatting. But if I bring the game up on the screen, that means I can orient myself to where the heck I am. Plus, it's so pretty. It's such a pretty game. Oh yes, Havarl. Jungle Planet, where I died quite a few times last time, I think. I don't think we've crossed the bridge yet, have we? Okay, we have a lengthy loading screen today. Hello, loading screen. Oh, but it's so pretty. Just so, so pretty. Ooh, you posted a new story chapter in the Discord. Yay! I do need to pop in there then. Oh, wait, I have a Discord? Yes, yes, indeed I do. Sometimes I forget, but I do have a Discord. All right. Let's see what our journal says. Yeah, if you're not in the Discord, you should be in the Discord. There should be a Discord? Discord! And you can read some of Shadows of Life's writing in the Discord. We have like a book club forum. It doesn't end up getting used very much for like book clubby stuff, but there's writing in there. Oh, you posted it in Eric's Discord as well? Awesome. Yeah, there are messages in there, and I need to get in there and check. I just haven't yet today because, as I said, I woke up, I ate, I took medicine, and then I fell asleep on the couch. And then I was like, oh, darn, it's time for me to be awake. I must go and do the awakeness thing. So, oh no, we've got the... I want to meet Gil at the Vortex for a game of poker. I don't know if it's going to let me clear the indicator. This was one of the bugs, and it honestly was one of the ones that bugged me the most in this game, is that all of them are marked as red, but there's an indicator saying there's an unread one. And for some reason, that to me is really frustrating. I try to ignore it, but today it's bugging me. Wow, we picked up a lot of missions, didn't we? Also, I didn't mean to activate that one, but whatever. First murder, excess baggage. Monkeys in space. Trail of Hope. Come on. One of these incompleted missions is probably the one. There it was. It was Forgotten Stars that was... Anyway. There. That's the one we're working on. We have so many unread codex entries. Eos, the first outpost. You explored and reactivated a mysterious alien vault, apparently designed for terraforming, bringing the hope of new life back to Eos. Despite the potential cat threat, you guided the outpost on Eos on a mission of peaceful scientific exploration of the Helios cluster. First contact, the Angara. You proved yourself an ally to the Angara by supporting their research efforts on Havarl. A crew like no other. Only the best and most experienced crew can hope to succeed on a Pathfinder's mission. These allies and companions ensure survival for thousands of settlers. Nakmor Drak. After earning Nakmor Drak's respect on Eos, he agreed to join your squad. The Tempest is a little cozy for a Krogan, but the old-timers made himself comfortable. When not regaling the crew with stories, he hangs out in the galley, tinkering with his guns. And that's not a euphemism. Drak was one of many Krogan woken from stasis to help put down a mutiny on the Nexus. When the Krogan weren't given the authority they were promised, his people left to settle Helios their own way. Drak's granddaughter Kesh stayed on the Nexus. He might say she's keeping them honest. A mid-level politician named William Spender was the one who talked the Krogan into putting down the Nexus mutiny under false pretenses. Drak and Kesh both suspect Spender's connected to the exiles, but can't prove it. They asked you to help investigate. Cora Harper. You've socialized a little with Cora, learning more about her background as a biotic and Asari commando. Wow, we have basically no entry for Cora. That is... We know more about Nakmor Drak than we do about Cora. Callow Jath. You and Callow sometimes chat in your free time. Callow will take any excuse to talk about the Tempest. It also seems that Callow and Gil Brody don't get along. Callow doesn't seem inclined to discuss it. Liam Costa. First impressions of Liam. He's a real booster for the initiative and always gives his all for the mission. Lexi Tapero. Despite her years of experience, Lexi feels a little daunted by working in the field. However, she is excited about the prospect of researching the Ket. PB Basale. PB mostly keeps out of the way. She's guarded about herself, and you've pushed back a little. It's amazing that we have not gone through the crew entries before. Vetra Nix. Oh gosh, Vetra is an awesome character. Vetra likes to describe herself as someone who gets things done. She seems very committed to your mission and the Pathfinder team's success. The fact that she brought her sister Sid with her to Andromeda might have something to do with her dedication. It's Gil! You've left Gil to his job, taking care of the Tempest systems, which seems to keep him busy. You've shot the breeze with Gil a few times, and he's invited you to hang out socially and share his favorite pastime, poker. There seems to be a mutual attraction between you. Suvi Anwar is the Tempest's resident science officer. She works closely with the research team on the Nexus, analyzing the data you and Sam collect in the field. While chatting, Suvi revealed herself to be a spiritual person. You entered into an invigorating discussion about faith, with Suvi appearing to come away respecting your position while staying firm in her own. Jal Amadarav has joined the Pathfinder team. His good intentions to help you gain the trust of the Angara seem sincere. However, he's keeping you at arm's length for now, and it seems that you need to gain his trust too. Ryder. Ongoing psychological profile, Pathfinder Ryder. From the files of Tempest physician and psychologist Dr. Lexi Tapero. Ryder, I've completed a more thorough evaluation. For now, this is what I'm delivering to Pathfinder HQ. I may send you updates later if applicable. I've observed that you display a tendency toward analytical thinking and intellectual curiosity. When interacting with others, even difficult personalities, you consider the more grounded and non-emotional response. However, I would say that all this is at odds with your tendency to act impulsively in many situations. You go with your gut rather than pause and wait for more information. Perhaps I should note that you are more impulsive in the field than you are with your affection, whatever that means. We can keep that between us. I would add, although you've had to quickly adjust to take on a new and unexpected role, you maintain a direct and professional demeanor. My guess is that your former military training and subsequent experience with command structure is serving you well here, or perhaps a solid and respectful approach to things is just your nature. The ties that bind. Though you mourn the loss of your father, Alec, you were never as close as you could have been. You started the search for answers to the mystery about why your father made you Pathfinder. You visited your sister Sarah while she was still in a coma. You were honest with your sister and told her dad was killed on Habitat 7. You lied to Sarah and told her home had been found. I lied. The Andromeda Initiative. Gosh, I don't know how many of these I'm going to go through right now, but I feel like it's been a long time since we looked at any of them, and I felt like I needed to. PB describes herself freely as the foremost Milky Way expert on the Remnant and their technology. It is difficult to verify her qualifications for this, as many Nexus personnel records have been lost. DNA and fingerprint matches give the name Pelisaria Basale, although according to the revival schedule, that individual should still be in stasis. PB's only comment is, nothing like getting a head start. Piecing together information from Eos and the Nexus, PB was born on the planet Hyatania in the Milky Way. After voyaging to Andromeda on the Nexus, she left the station some months ago to explore the Helios cluster alone and became fascinated by the Remnant. She has classified and dismantled several types of Remnant bot, but she prefers to keep her findings private for now. Psychologically, PB demonstrates both extremely high intelligence and hyper-individualism. Her restlessness is typical of many Asari in their maiden phase of life, though few go so far as to visit another galaxy. Kalojath was born on Surkesh, and quoting directly, into a life so boring even you couldn't calculate it. Pushed towards a lucrative but dull bureaucratic career with Paro Aerospace, Callow became more interested in flying the starships he was meant to be cataloging. He eventually left Surkesh for formal pilot training and joined Paro's competitor as a test pilot. Internal emails show that when the Andromeda Initiative was building teams to develop their survey vessels, Paro Aerospace warned against recruiting Callow so fervently that Gian Garson's interest was piqued. Callow claims that the prospect of the initiative was intriguing enough to make him join the Tempest design team, test flying her early prototypes, running stress tests in regions like the Nemean Abyss, and rumor has it, helping to acquire advanced technology. Callow has an acute photographic memory, even by Solarian standards. This may be linked to his unusual motor responses, though he discourages my speculation. The Andromeda Initiative's records on Vetra Nyx are sparse. She states that she is from Palaven, but has also disclosed that she is not recognized as a formal citizen of Turian society, never having entered boot camp. It appears that she left Palaven at an early age and spent most of her life in the outer reaches of Council space, never settling down in one place. Vetra was recruited into the initiative by Nakmor Kesh, who lists her as a business associate, and recommended her on the basis of her street smarts, adaptability, and familiarity with most weapons. Vetra's only other recorded family is her sister, Sidera Nyx, who accompanied Vetra on the journey to Andromeda on board the Nexus. A footnote in Vetra's file indicates that she may have been part of an unnamed mercenary band that was hired to steal sensitive military secrets from a base on Monet. The culprits were never caught. Gil Brody! We're just going to appreciate the photograph here for a moment while I clean my glasses. This is okay? Everybody's okay with me going through some of the codex? We'll get some shooting in today, I promise. Also, I hope that everybody's having a good weekend. I know the weekend is almost over, but yes, weekends. At least until my voice gives out. No. I won't go that far today, I don't think. Oh, come on. I really need to, do a deep clean on these glasses. Technical Officer Gil Brody is a chief engineer aboard the Tempest. After traveling to Andromeda aboard the Nexus, records show that Gil was woken from stasis roughly a year ago to assist with construction efforts before prepping the Tempest itself. There are no records of Gil's early life. He explains he was an undocumented street kid from one of Earth's megalopolis cities. Sorry. Megapolis cities. I get it, but megalopolis is easier to say. Though unschooled, Gil likely showed a remarkable aptitude for mathematics and spatial reasoning since, at 10, he often broke into a local scrapyard to dismantle and repair destroyed shuttle engines. In time, he was caught and sentenced to a steady job. Gil's mechanical expertise eventually drew him off-world to numerous colonies across the Milky Way. His unconventional work drew the attention of Vetra Nix, who agrees she was always on the lookout for new contacts. Vetra claims she persuaded Gil to join the initiative. Gil claims he won Vetra's initiative clearance in a poker game and exchanged it for a guaranteed seat along with his friend Jill. He remains an invaluable member of the Tempest crew. Lexi Tapero. Although young by Asari standards, Lexi Tapero is regarded as one of the most skilled doctors in the Andromeda Initiative. Born on the crime-ridden space station Omega, Lexi began her medical career by stitching up her father, a Turian bouncer, at the Afterlife nightclub where her mother was also employed as a dancer. In her screening interviews, Lexi states her parents' dream was for her to get off this rock and live a life worth talking about. Following her parents' wishes, Lexi left Omega to continue studying medicine as well as psychology on the Citadel, where she eventually met Harry Carlyle. Carlyle convinced her to join the initiative as the Hyperion's physician. Although there was some confusion around assigning an Asari to the human arc, Lexi's credentials and expertise in alien anatomy quickly silenced any concerns. By her own admission, Lexi is a workaholic. On or off the table, I have a hard time not dissecting people, figuratively, of course. One of her many goals in Helios is to improve her bedside manner and learn to appreciate the moment. Nakmor Drak. They caught me fixing ships in a scrapyard, so they gave me a job. Exactly, Shadows of Life. It's a perfect origin story. Oh, I do like Gil Brody. Yeah. It's a good character. As verified by Nexus records and his own claims, the Krogan mercenary Nakmor Drak is among the oldest beings to join the Andromeda Initiative. He originally traveled to the Nexus, along with many other members of Clan Nakmor, but left after the Nexus Uprising. Born on Tachanka around 700 CE, Drak was a young warrior when the Krogan rebellions began in earnest. He and his Krant accounted for over 200 kills, which, Drak claims, includes 3 of the then newly founded Council Spectres. After the Solarian-designed Genophage ended the rebellions, various bounties and military bulletins show Drak chose a new path as a pirate and a soldier of fortune for whatever conflicts came his way. Over centuries of fighting, multiple injuries required several of his limbs and organs to be replaced with cybernetics. Eventually, Drak says, his search for one last horizon brought him to Andromeda. Drak did not travel alone. He accompanied most of his clan to Andromeda, including granddaughter Nakmor Kesh and clan leader Nakmor Morda. Kesh and Drak maintain a close relationship, exchanging regular messages, no matter where their duties in Helios take them. The question is, are there others we haven't read? Who the frack knows? Because as soon as you click on one, it takes away the indicator. We have definitely read about Sarah and Sam and Alec. We read about Cora before and Liam. Oh, and this is our mom. Ellen Ryder, formerly Harlow, was a pioneering designer of biotic implants. In the 2150s, she was a leading biomedical and cybernetic researcher at UFRJ in Rio de Janeiro. When human biotics began to emerge as a scientific field, Ellen found possible applications for her work in neuro-integrated wetware. Her early designs for biotic implants formed the framework for later L2 and L3 models. Ellen met Alec Ryder when he was posted to Rio for ICT N7 training before the First Contact War. She eventually joined Alec on the Citadel when he was posted there as a military attaché and gave birth to fraternal twins on the station in 2163. Unfortunately, element 0, the catalyst for biotic mutations, is a hazardous material poorly understood in the early years of human biotics. After recent accidental exposures, Ellen eventually developed a terminal neurodegenerative disorder. Neurodegenerative disorder, later known as AEND. In her final years, Ellen Ryder built what would later become the Pathfinder implants, designed to sync with the AI partner Alec Ryder was developing. Ellen died before my creation was fully realized. Yes, these are written from the perspective of Sam. The Nexus. The Pathfinder headquarters on the Nexus is designed to record and celebrate the achievements of the initiative's Pathfinders, while also providing a space for them to relax and regroup when off duty. The Pathfinder HQ is not normally open to the general populace, but Director Tan has permitted guided tours since Archiperian's rendezvous with the Nexus. The Pathfinder HQ preserves mission-significant items, mineral samples, and planetary surveys. If and when the initial settlement phase is complete, the Pathfinder HQ will contain a historical record of the Pathfinder's efforts to colonize Helios. Meanwhile, Director Tan has established his offices there, as part of his duties in overseeing Pathfinder operations. Hydroponics. The Nexus's original encounter with the Scourge caused heavy damage to the station. Reports show that hydroponics suffered the brunt of the damage, deepening the resource crisis. In response, Dr. Elliot Camden, the new head of hydroponics, requested that plants be distributed throughout the station to prevent similar losses. According to station resource allocation, hydroponics currently accounts for 38% of the Nexus's water ice consumption. After undergoing reverse osmosis to remove heavy metals, the water is divided into reservoirs for each plant variety and a macronutrient mix is added. VI systems consistently monitor the pH, temperature, and dissolved solids count of these reservoirs. The flora in hydroponics was chosen by crop varieties and oxygen yield. While most of the Nexus's oxygen comes from electrolysis, its plants improve overall air quality. Psychological reports also show a marked improvement in station morale since hydroponics is recovery. People like to see green plants. Who knew? Cultural exchange. The Cultural Exchange was created to support the Andromeda Initiative's principles of peaceful exploration in the new galaxy. Given the high likelihood of contacting sentient alien life in Andromeda, the exchange was designed to educate and inform local species about the history and intentions of the Milky Way settlers. The hope was to avoid any misunderstandings which could lead to suspicion or hostilities, and instead foster an air of cooperation beneficial to all. I'm sure that went well. Helios News Service, HNS. As Milky Way species work to establish themselves in Andromeda, gathering and disseminating accurate information about galactic events in the public interest has fallen to the fledgling Helios News Service. Novice journalist Davis Carr came to Andromeda to report and learn under a seasoned editor. But when Carr's mentor was reportedly killed in the Nexus uprising, he was forced to set up the official source of news on the Nexus largely by himself. HNS operates with an arm's-length agreement and partial funding from the Andromeda Initiative, a model similar to some national news services in Earth's past. This has raised questions among some colonists about the service's potential bias, though Carr stresses that if HNS has an agenda, it is to hold initiative leadership accountable while chronicling a new era of space exploration. Nakmor Kesh. Overseer of the Nexus's initial design and construction phase in the Milky Way, Nakmor Kesh is currently superintendent of the station. She has oversight of the Nexus proper, maintaining systems, integrating any returning arcs, and continuing construction efforts. She is also considered a senior figure in Clan Nakmor, despite the departure of the majority of the Krogan from the Nexus. Kesh herself describes her role as Fixer-in-Chief. Brunch acquired! Da, 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 da. Welcome back. Congratulations. Kesh was born on Tachanka, back in the Milky Way. She claims she was considered frail as a child, but an attentive upbringing by her grandfather, Nakmor Drak, allowed her to flourish. Unlike many of her kind, a younger Kesh made ample time to read, sparking her early interest in engineering and civil construction. Records from the Nexus uprising show Kesh played a key role in keeping the station operational during the crisis. Her strong management and knowledge of the station makes her an irreplaceable member of the Nexus leadership, though minutes of official meetings suggest she and Director Jaron Tan are often at odds. Kesh's presence ensures that the Krogan still have a powerful voice on the Nexus. William Spender. When the Nexus first arrived in Andromeda and an uprising arose among the desperate crew, it was William Spender who convinced clan leader Nakmor Morda to put down the mutineers. By all accounts, it did not go well. In return for her help, Morda claims that Spender, in his authority as Assistant Director of Colonial Affairs, promised equal status for the Krogan in any decision-making by way of a seat at the council. When the agreement came to light, Initiative Director Jaron Tan refused to honor it, and most Krogan left the Nexus. Privately reprimanded but publicly credited for helping to stop the uprising, Spender maintained his position a step away from Nexus senior leadership. All right. The Turian Pathfinder. Born on Palavan and a decorated engineer in Blackwatch, Mason Barrow was touted by the hierarchy to be a shining example of a Turian citizen. There were concerns among Initiative leadership about whether or not he would leave his comfortable life behind to become the Turian Pathfinder, but Mason was eager, so long as he could name his replacement, Avidus Rix, a former Spectre. Internal emails and screening interviews state Mason and Avidus met in the field and suggest that their relationship may have been more than platonic. Mason Barrow left the Milky Way aboard the Turian Ark Natanus in 2185. More about the humans. Early spaceflight. The human philosopher Plato once said, "Astronomy compels the soul to look upward and leads us from this world to another." For much of its recorded history, humanity has indeed looked to the night sky and dreamed of venturing to the stars. However, after the historic NASA Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969, the drive for crewed space exploration slowed as government funding dried up. The move toward cheaper unmanned probes and orbital stations gained traction instead, as one of the central obstacles was the expense of creating first-stage booster rockets that would be lost after each flight. But the lure of sending people into the cosmos never lost its draw. In the early 21st century, a private company called SpaceX pioneered efforts in sustainable space travel by developing a reusable launch system. It revolutionized the field as the first entity, government or private, to successfully launch and then safely recover an orbital booster rocket intact, allowing it to be reused in future launches. Reusable hardware placed lower-cost, sustainable space travel within reach. Galvanized by SpaceX's achievements, a renaissance in space exploration followed. Reusable launch systems technology later became pivotal in establishing the European Space Agency's first permanent settlement on Mars, Lowell City, in 2103. That's still a ways off. I can't math. In my head, at least. That's 80 years from now. We have 80 years to make this true. ESA, get on it. The ESA has to found Lowell City on Mars within 80 years. Efra Before Evra Detershav assumed command of the resistance, he claims it was a disorganized and ineffectual group of zealots who were sliding into irrelevance. In fact, Ja'al, I think it's Ja'al, not Ja'al. It would have an apostrophe if it was Ja'al. Ja'al explains it was the Resistance's failure to protect Evra's family from the Ket that drove Evra to join the group, with the goal of turning it into the effective guerrilla army it aspired to be. Resistance distributed literature explains that Evra's single-minded dedication to his cause became evident when he led a successful raid on a Ket slave labor camp, reporting that Evra's resistance forces liberated hundreds of Angaran prisoners before wiping out an entire battalion of Ket sent to stop the attack. According to Ja'al, Evra is feared by his resistance subordinates and respected by Angaran leaders, but he remains an isolated individual. He keeps no close ties by design. Everyone in the resistance is expendable, and Evra is said to understand too well the pain that comes with losing those closest to him. I want Mars archives. Give me more Mars. Although Mars is supposed to be chocolate, right? Isn't that what the candy bar says? Wait, that was yesterday's discussion when we were on Mars. Angara culture. Our first cultural exchanges quickly revealed that there is no homogeneous Angaran culture. What? Go figure. An entire species populating multiple planets and they don't have just one culture? Who would have guessed? Development on several separate planets has left striking distances in Angaran social norms that are yet to be reconciled. Some common threads can be established. The Angara prize familial unity, preferring to live, work, and raise children in extended family groups. Political factions tend to emerge from these extended families with leaders elected by popular support. Spirituality has a role in Angaran daily life, with their calendar making space for the religious holidays of many different faiths. As a safe and hospitable garden world, Aya has emerged as a center of Angaran society and trade. With many communities facing harsh conditions and resource shortages, a lottery system is used to transfer personnel to Aya for extended periods. These Rabagarasen, roughly sanctuary trips, also serve to pool reclaimed scientific knowledge and military strategy. I know, science fiction tells us that all alien cultures are homogenous. So this is a departure from the genre. Angaran spirituality. Spirituality plays an important role in Angaran life, and Angaran children are raised from their first moments to follow their family's spiritual traditions. That sounds familiar. Within most Angaran faith systems, there are deities to fear or worship, and focus is placed on personal growth and the betterment of the soul. All Angarans are taught the importance of meditation and quiet contemplation. One common teaching is that the soul can be heard when the mind is still. Angara also believe that the growth of a soul continues after death through rebirth. From cultural exchanges and Angaran spiritual texts, most, if not all, Angara appear to believe in reincarnation. When a person dies, they are reborn within the same family. A good act performed in one life contributes to greater enlightenment in the next. The importance placed on different types of good acts seems to vary from planet to planet, and even from family to family. For instance, some Angara may value acts of heroism, others acts of compassion. The variety appears limitless. Languages. Angaran linguists describe between 200 and 300 public languages across their combined settlements. When accounting for family languages spoken privately and passed down over generations, the number climbs rapidly into the thousands. The language used by most Angara across the Helios cluster is Shalesh, a lingua franca that was commonly used in the early days of Angaran spaceflight before fading into obscurity. New connections between Angaran settlements and constant evolution of languages since their separation means it has now seen a revival. Sources say Shalesh originally meant to barter for the moon, apparently a joke or pun around the idea of trading between interstellar colonies. Some terms. Angara, noun, plural, civilized people. Those who have put down roots, derived from ang and meaning anchor. Dar, noun, literally rock, the term for a village or small outpost. Jaravan, noun, galaxy. Yave Yaravan literally means our galaxy, commonly referred to Jave Jaravan? That seems weird. But anyway, commonly referring to Andromeda, while Jaravan Imasaf, the Masaf Shell Galaxy, refers to the Milky Way. The Masaf Shell Galaxy. We live in the soft shell galaxy. Para, verb, to know or to learn. Sheena, noun, the mouth. Tavatan, noun, a friend or trusted comrade, one who would be vouched for to the rest of the family. Vesagara, noun, plural, uprooted people, exiles, a derogatory term for those from the Milky Way, most often used by the Rokar. The Rokar. Jal describes the Rokar as dangerous cousins. Ruthless and single-minded, the Rokar propaganda describes their intent to drive all alien invaders, both Milky Way and Ket, out of the Helios cluster. The Rokar were founded by Aksul, a charismatic Angara who once studied with the Moshe. Jal explains that Aksul was captured by the Ket and held in a forced labor camp for over a standard year, while the resistance could not risk a rescue. Though he survived, Aksul was embittered against the resistance and alien life. Upon his escape, he recruited young Angara and disaffected resistance members into an independent force named after fearsome soldiers from Angaran mythology, the Rokar. The arrival of the Nexus, portrayed as further invaders by Aksul, provoked the Rokar past breaking point. They are now engaged in full-fledged guerrilla operations against all non-Angaran inhabitants of the cluster. The Angaran resistance officially disavows the Rokar, but family and political interconnections complicate any organized opposition to them. Angaran technology. Considering their civilization endured both the immense disaster of the Scourge and the brutal Ket invasion, Angara possess remarkably advanced technology. Their starships, while generally small and bare-bones functional, are more than capable of keeping pace with Andromeda Initiative vessels. Angara use advanced communications and computer systems that have quickly adapted to interface with Milky Way devices, helping to smooth through some of the technological hurdles of first contact. When it comes to personal technology, Angara have focused primarily on defensive and offensive innovations. Their weapons and armor are impressive enough to garner approval from Krogan, who have witnessed them in battle and are designed to work seamlessly with the innate Angaran control over electromagnetism. The Angara are in turn fascinated by Milky Way omni-tools and have already begun experimenting with the technology for their own use. The Angara have also had decades to study Ket technology firsthand. If relations remain cordial, this technological knowledge may become invaluable. The Resistance. The arrival of the Ket stunned and then divided the Angara. As described by Jal, infighting was used as a means of conquest by the Ket, but the presence of a common enemy eventually galvanized the Angara to work together. The various resistance groups merged into the organized Angaran resistance roughly 5 years ago under Efrediturshev's command, supported by prominent families and determined to stop their Ket oppressors. I got lost in that sentence. I apologize. The Resistance's headquarters are on Aya. For security reasons, neither Ephra nor Jal will provide details of the Resistance's organizational structure, but it can be assumed that there are multiple independent cells across the cluster. Many non-resistance Angara support their work either logistically or financially. The Resistance specializes in assassination, sabotage of Ket facilities, deployment of supplies to besieged populations, and the rescue and rehabilitation of Angaran prisoners. Many members of the Angaran Resistance have joined up with the Nexus militia, enlisting apex support for their missions. Some senior officers have opened treaty negotiations with the Nexus. The Angara are the only known sentient species local to the Helios cluster. Only known. And not the whole galaxy, just the cluster. Scattered across numerous worlds, the Angara are reuniting as a people. Though much of their culture and scientific knowledge has been lost, the Angara continue to rebuild and resist the Ket conquest of Helios. From our cultural exchanges, we know that the Angara have a unique control over electromagnetism. Specialized skin cells and organs allow them to generate and control electromagnetic fields artistically or unleash them in combat. Oral histories describe how ancient Angara were tribal and nomadic before settling in cities. Many of them still live in large, tight-knit families, and workplaces have a guild-like organizational structure. Politically, the Angara remained divided. Attempts at a reformed government were disrupted by the Ket. Approximately 5 years ago, a coherent resistance movement emerged on Aya, the first to draw unilateral political support, with the goal of driving the Ket out of Helios for good. Whew. Many historical records of the Angara have been lost, but what survives tells the story of how ancient Angara achieved spaceflight. Eventually, they settled on 5 separate garden worlds, including Vold. The scourge struck in approximately 2400 CE. By our calendar, the phenomenon devastated the Helios cluster, destroyed many Angaran cities, and sent their culture into a decline. This dark age lasted for over a century before the Angara began to adapt to the new conditions in Helios. Eventually, the disparate Angara regained spaceflight capability and reestablished contact with one another, but the isolation had fostered separate cultural, political, and spiritual blocks. The Angara struggled to find common ground. This struggle was ongoing when the Ket arrived 75 years ago. The Archon exploited their disparity and began a brutal conquest of the Helios cluster. Ironically, as several Angaran historians point out, a common enemy provided the impetus to unite. Today, the Angara continue their efforts at reconstruction and resistance. Shadows of Life, thank you. Thank you for the self-care redeem. I will indeed stretch and take a moment. I feel bad for having put off the codex for so long, meaning that I have a ton of it to clear. I'm not tripping on the reading too much quite yet. I don't know how much more I'll be able to do, though. There are a lot of entries. Ket Fiend. Fiends are monstrous beasts with a heavily armored carapace. Unlike the stealthier wraiths, fiends are besieging units that attack head-on, scattering enemy forces and destroying entrenched enemy positions. They attack non-Ket without appearing to need orders. Some scientists believe fiends respond aggressively to an absence of Ket pheromones or similar cues. A fiend's carapace is permeated by dense cartilage that makes it both strong and flexible, and acts as a shock absorber for incoming fire. Preliminary study of their nervous system suggests that nerve transmission is dampened above a certain pain threshold, allowing a fiend to detect injury but not be slowed by it. Reports of fiend encounters are often accompanied by casualty lists, and the militia advises that only a well-armed and organized team should handle a fiend at full rampage. Indeed, Shadows, they are fun to fight. The Archon. The Ket present a mysterious but ever-present danger in the Helios cluster. As the militia struggles to gather any details on their plans or motivations, rumors have reached the nexus of the Ket's leader, a powerful military commander known as the Archon. This Archon is said to command the Ket from a dreadnought out in unknown space, and is only rarely sighted planetside. Thus far, these sightings are always at remnant dig sites, or Ket-controlled remnant structures. The Archon's interest in the remnant remains unexplained, but intelligence gathering continues. Okay, but why wouldn't he be interested in the remnant? We read this one, and it does not say why they're called the Ket. Anointed. The Ket soldiers, known as Anointed, appeared to be of similar caste to the Chosen. Infantry, equipped with light armor. Anointed, however, wield heavy plasma cannons, making them a rallying point for other Ket forces and shielding themselves with kinetic barriers against splashback. A barrage from an Anointed's plasma cannon can shred through enemy barriers and severely damage ground vehicles. Communication intercepts suggest that Anointed assist in coordinating chosen squads and act in an NCO role. It is unclear if the term Anointed refers to a senior rank among the chosen, or if Anointed are part of a separate division within the Ket infantry. Ket Chosen. Chosen are the frontline soldiers of the Ket. Encountered on multiple worlds as support for other Ket combatants, they are equipped with assault rifles that fire plasma-surrounded projectiles, and light armor that allows them to move and deploy rapidly. Though their biology is still under investigation, they are capable of surviving in hazardous environments without protective gear. While quick to defer to more senior individuals, Chosen appear to be disciplined and loyal soldiers, undeterred even by biotic attacks or heavy ordnance. They present a continuing risk to unarmed outposts. The name Chosen was intercepted and tentatively translated from Ket communications. If accurate, its significance is unclear since these are clearly the Ket's baseline infantry. See, there they explain how we got the word chosen. Ket Wraith. Nicknamed by initiative scouts unlucky enough to encounter them, wraiths are war beasts, capable of adjusting their carapace pigmentation to blend into their surroundings. Yay, chameleon field. This ability lets them stalk an enemy over distances unseen or cause sudden disorder in enemy ranks, flushing targets to be picked off by other Ket forces. When attacking, Wraith leap and strike with impressive jaw strength that can puncture ceramic armor. Wraiths present an interesting study to Nexus scientists, initially believed to originate from the same homeworld as the Ket, since they have similar physical characteristics. Wraiths show clear genetic similarity with other feral creatures sighted across the Helios cluster. Huh. Sorry, these entries hit slightly differently with the knowledge that I have from having played the game before. Andromeda wildlife. Overview. The nature of life in the Andromeda galaxy was debated at length by Milky Way scholars. Many Milky Way species show convergent evolution, upright bipeds of a certain height and atmospheric tolerances, leading some to theorize this pattern might give some evolutionary advantage, despite counter-arguments by Hanar scientists. Interestingly, the Ket and Angara continue to fit this pattern. The wildlife and flora encountered in the Helios cluster have adapted to the presence of the scourge, evolving epidermal layers or carapaces that can cope with ambient radiation, or in the case of some plants, successfully feeding off it. Many use bioluminescence to attract prey or as a threat or mating display. Concerns were raised around the ability of Milky Way species to consume proteins from Andromeda, so seed banks formed a significant part of the Ark's cargo. We now know it's safe to consume food grown or hunted here, though enzyme supplements are recommended and have become a social norm at mealtimes. Outlaws. Adi. Adi are four-legged life forms sighted on multiple worlds across the Helios cluster. Often foraging together in packs, they are extremely intelligent and capable of understanding complex commands. Wandering explorers and mercenaries are often accompanied by one or two trained Adi for defense. When attacking, Adi drive opponents out of secure positions to make them vulnerable to gunfire or a concerted attack by the rest of the pack. Their jaw strength has been measured in excess of 1900 N. I don't know what measurement N would be with regard to a measure of force. They don't mean like newtons, do they? I don't know what that is. Is it newtons? That's the only thing that I can think of. Dangerous even when wearing a hard suit. Adi also show no fear of scout rovers. Interestingly, the Adi genome shows signs of extensive genetic engineering that resembles the uplifting of some domestic animals on Earth before gene modification laws were put in place. These adaptations allow the Adi to survive in hazardous environments and may account for their almost tactical intelligence, even in the wild. Yeah, my guess is it's got to be Newton's. Oh, Shadows, enjoy your game. Outlaws. Saboteur. Most of the cited outlaw forces are composed of forces from the Milky Way, but many Angara have also joined them, either out of disillusionment with the resistance or for their own personal glory. This has been heralded with the fascination by Nexus social xenopsychologists who claim it demonstrates universal values and goals between sentient life, and concern by Apex, who now have to contend with outlaws who have expert knowledge of the Helios cluster. The light armor and weapons of Angaran outlaws have been fatally deceptive to many Apex squads. When necessary, the Angara act as saboteurs, using their innate control over electromagnetism to drain enemy shield capacitors and boost their own equipment. With combatants suddenly vulnerable, they are easy prey for the saboteur or their allies. Sharpshooter. Equipped with custom-modified sniper rifles, sharpshooters accompany raiding parties as scouts and long-range combatants. A well-trained sharpshooter can pick off an unprepared explorer before they even know there are enemies nearby. The skill of many of these sharpshooters is, ironically, the result of Initiative colonists' defense training before leaving the Milky Way. Strategically, it was believed that well-armed snipers would be simple but effective defenders of their outposts, with a lowered risk of losing personnel in the event of an attack. It appears this training has now been passed along. Raider. The outlaw bands of the Helios cluster are diverse. Some were individuals who joined the Andromeda initiative as an escape from the Milky Way. Some were exiled after the Nexus uprising. Others chose to seek their fortune elsewhere. Most of these individuals survive by raiding outposts or wandering exploration teams. Raiding outposts or raiding wandering exploration teams. Got it. While not particularly organized or well equipped, these raiders present a risk to undefended colonists. Most prefer to extort supplies and equipment rather than risk themselves, but when provoked or desperate, they will resort to deadly force. The Remnant. Interfacing. Remnant technology requires careful reactivation, dubbed interfacing, a process Alec Ryder and I first developed on Habitat 7, using glyphs, dense data packets of Remnant code, a working understanding of their language, and the interface capabilities of a Pathfinder implant. I can help you trigger or control Remnant technology from appropriate locations. Interfacing is the only way to activate certain Remnant technology, such as monoliths. Scans and surface damage suggest that the Ket have repeatedly attempted to activate these sites by other, increasingly desperate suggest that Ket have repeatedly attempted to activate these sites by other increasingly desperate methods without success. It is not clear whether Remnant technology is designed to be activated by an AI. There is no evidence of artificial intelligence in the Remnant structures investigated thus far, and Remnant bots have only rudimentary programming. However, the glyphs contain recognition keys analogous to the electroencephalogram, EEG, implying that the system is designed to handle a form of neural input. Remnant creators. An artificial creation must have a creator, but there is scant evidence of whomever created the Remnant. I've consulted the Nexus scientists' scans obtained by PB on the condition that I not rearrange her data, and records of your own investigation, but my conclusions remain speculation. We can be certain that the Remnant builders are several orders of sophistication above the Initiative's technology. Interlinked cluster-wide planetary engineering is beyond the logistics or budget of any known species. The energy requirements alone suggest a Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale. On a cultural level, the builders must have been intelligent and capable of large-scale cooperation. The proportions of the vaults and devices found suggest a species with similar physical traits to humans, but with no genetic evidence left behind. Their appearance, along with their motivations, remain a mystery. Breacher. Created by assemblers, these breachers are levitating drones that move in rapid, aggressive bursts using a powerful microthruster. PB claims to have named them breachers after mistaking one for an observer, and quickly realizing this new example broke the rules. Analysis of breacher debris shows that their systems are fundamentally unstable. Their power cores are improperly shielded, and many of their inner workings are exposed. This suggests that they are created for short-term deployment to handle intruders who stray into Remnant territory, and in turn offers some insight into the Remnant builders' military doctrine. Combined with single-minded programming that focuses on hostiles, the volatile construction of breachers makes them extremely dangerous. If provoked, the breacher will launch itself at an opponent and attempt to latch onto it, using exposed gears to grind through hard suits and cause severe damage. When damaged beyond repair, a breacher may trigger its power core to overload and self-destruct. Remnant decryption. Most Remnant technology is inert or in a standby mode, but some is secured with a decryption grid. Unlocking it requires scanning the correct Remnant glyphs and arranging them in specific order. The glyphs cannot repeat on any straight line or within a square block of 4. It's like that number puzzle. Then I can't think it's like Sudoku. PB speculates that this could be, right? Isn't that the word? The name of, I don't know, whatever. Even if a method was devised to brute force hack an interface, it would not work with the decryption grid. Given the devastating consequences when Remnant technology is improperly activated, her analysis seems sound. The arrangement of the glyphs appears to complete either a password or a code phrase within the grid as a whole. From the little I understand of the Remnant language, they appear to form an almost palindromic Sator square sequence. But the finer meaning would require detailed explanation from the grid's designer. Destroyers are heavy weapon platforms deployed against the most determined intruders into Remnant territory. Armed with a dedicated energy cannon and 2 secondary laser turrets, they can engage multiple targets simultaneously. A single destroyer can take out an entire combat squad in minutes. When asked why she named it a destroyer, PB folded her arms, rolled her eyes, and answered, "You figure it out." One of the most disconcerting characteristics of the destroyer is its partitioned power system. Destroying one of its turrets means that power is automatically diverted to its locomotion systems, allowing it to move much faster. Many individuals have mistakenly believed they could pick off a destroyer's turrets from a distance and evade it safely, only to have the destroyer close that distance unexpectedly. This often has fatal consequences, since at melee range, the destroyer transfers power to an electromagnetic burst that causes severe damage to any individuals unlucky enough to be up close. Apex has reported variants of the destroyer that have a self-repair network for their turrets. These destroyers can briefly go dormant, transferring full power to fix any damage before reactivating its turrets again. Few have been cited, but engagement is not recommended. Nullifier. This Remnant model appears to have been designed for excavation. If provoked, it enters a siege mode, where it anchors itself to the ground and launches explosive projectiles at a target. In this mode, this Remnant constantly runs a self-repair cycle, reducing damage from incoming fire. PB claims that this characteristic is what earned it the name Nullifier. Recovery of Nullifier parts has been illuminating. They use both balancing pitons and dense ferrofluid reservoirs in their lower extremities to remain stable, while firing design characteristics that could be useful for initiative mining operations. Their blast shielding is also surprisingly light for its thickness, 72 millimeters, and density. The plates are cushioned by a honeycomb of shock-absorbing polymer to distribute any ballistic force. However, these characteristics are also what allows them to absorb heavy fire and act as formidable opponents. Assemblers were nicknamed for their ability to create smaller units known as breachers. Each assembler contains a reservoir. Each assembler contains a reservoir of an unknown ferrofluid similar to Omnigel, which can be used to 3D print breachers on the spot with alarming speed. Tactically, assemblers focus on manufacturing reinforcements, moving to safe distances during combat. If approached while in its hostile mode, the assembler can jettison the partially completed power core of a breacher, which acts as an explosive grenade, causing massive damage to enemies and allowing the assembler to withdraw. Upon creating a breacher, the assembler transfers a full copy of its stored recent memory and battlefield disposition to the new Remnant, ensuring it is combat ready almost immediately. This capability means the assembler is constantly branching and partitioning its memory in preparation without loss of data, an interesting characteristic that may be useful in future artificial intelligence designs. Remnant is the umbrella term coined for technology, structures, and autonomous bots that have been sighted across the Helios cluster Seemingly abandoned by whomever created it, this remnant technology is extremely advanced, but most of it is in a standby state. On Habitat 7, Alec Ryder discovered that reactivating this technology requires scanning glyphs, data packets written in remnant coding language, and my assistance with interfacing at particular consoles. This is complicated by remnant bots that still guard and maintain many of these installations. Remnant bots do not appear to be sentient, but they are programmed to consider any interference with their technology as a hostile act and attack single-mindedly. The Ket have an interest in remnant technology and have been sighted across the cluster attempting to study or control sites where it is still active. Evidence suggests that the Ket have not yet developed a reliable method of interfacing. Remnant Observer. Observers, mid to long-range remnant drones, can be seen at most remnant sites. They are equipped with Element 0 cores that allow them to levitate and can normally be seen scanning or conducting maintenance at these sites. While they are the least robust of the remnant bots, observers are still a threat to unprepared explorers if provoked. Examination of destroyed remnant observers shows that they have multiple sensor vectors: visual, aural, electromagnetic, and others as yet undefined, and a comprehensive toolkit of equipment for observation and maintenance, including an ultraviolet beam razor, serving partially as its primary weapon. The frequencies of an observer's laser appear to react with remnant structures to induce a repair cycle. Observers are also capable of bringing the other remnant online, likely as part of their maintenance duties. When asked, PB explains the name observers with, "Everywhere you go, they seem to be looking at you." Whew. 3 more categories. Can we do it? Maybe. Havarl. As Jal explains, Havarl is considered the ancestral home of the Angara. The ruins of Angaran cities are a draw for researchers, looters, and Angara who defy the Ket to make pilgrimage. The planet's history also makes it a symbolic staging ground for the ruthlessly xenophobic Rokar. Long-range surveys by the Andromeda Initiative indicated Havarl was a golden world of lush green jungles and abundant liquid water. The planet was considered a golden world and given the label Habitat 3. Our observations today show Havarl is unrecognizable. The jungles now dominate much of the planet's surface, demonstrating bizarre growth patterns. Samples show grotesque mutations and hormonal changes in the jungle's plant life, rendering it not only extremely hardy, but hazardous for consumption. These factors point to a large-scale shift in Havarl's ecology that bears investigation. The Scourge. The Scourge is the colloquially... Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Ooh. I'm trying to get through as much of it as I can. Woo! We will shoot things today, I promise. The Scourge is the colloquial term for a huge and extremely dangerous interstellar phenomenon sighted across much of the Helios cluster. It appears to be a cloud spreading in tendrils that affect planets and surrounding space, destroying starships that attempt to pass through or near it. Each study of the Scourge has been difficult, as it does not match any previously known stellar body, leading to many wild theories about its nature. Given the problems in observation and the Scourge's unaccounted effects on gravity, some have even suggested it is a dark energy phenomenon in the literal sense, meaning a form of energy that has no electromagnetic interaction and thus cannot be detected, hence dark. Yet has strong negative pressure, causing expansive effects on a cosmic scale. Though the Scourge's characteristics don't match our current understanding of dark energy, these theories persist while further observations are taken. The Scourge is aggressively drawn to remnant structures on planets, though the cause of the attraction is not yet fully understood. This manifests as further tendrils of dust and radioactive particulates that cling to the surface of remnant technology and interfere with its operations. Either this matter was left behind after the planet in question passed through the Scourge itself, or even distant interactions with remnant technology can cause the Scourge to coalesce spontaneously. In either case, Even this minor manifestation of the scourge demands additional caution when approaching remnant sites. No long-range data showed any signs of the scourge before departure to the Helios cluster. Nexus scientists suggest it must have appeared in the intervening centuries when the arcs traveled to Andromeda. One of the scourge's more interesting characteristics is that it appears artificial. Its origin point is yet to be determined, but the pattern of the tendrils and the composition of the cloud could not have been caused by any celestial event known to astrophysics. Investigations are ongoing, though slowed by the deadly conditions created by the scourge. Hello, Detective Zen! Being too early to come up with anything creative, Zen enters the bridge and takes his station. I'm finally going through the codex that I let pile up. I should not have done that. Aya. Aya is an anomaly in the Helios cluster, a lush planet where a remnant site appears to be active. It is a sanctuary for the Angara, the only known sentient species local to Helios, and guarded fiercely against outsiders. This is helped by Aya's position relative to Helios's black hole, whose gravitational lensing effect makes Aya harder to detect. The scourge also makes the approach to Aya extremely dangerous for untrained pilots. Scans indicate numerous Ket wrecks lost in the scourge nearby, picked clean by Angaran salvagers. Aya is also the headquarters of the Angaran resistance movement against the Ket, whose leaders advise Aya's planetary governor, Paran Shi. Director Tan has ordered that Aya is not only to be considered sovereign territory, but a military power. While the Tempest and its crew were allowed to visit peacefully, the Nexus is advising extreme caution to other potential visitors and ordering the distribution of early contact guidelines. Yay for story time! Eos, designated Habitat 1, was the earliest golden world identified for outpost placement. Named for the Greek goddess of dawn by G.N. Garson personally, Eos embodied the hope of the Andromeda Initiative for a new start. On arrival, the Nexus discovered that a world projected to be arid but comfortably habitable was now ravaged by radioactive fallout from the scourge. The planet's atmosphere is racked by storms that have spread the radiation across continents, periodic 130-kilometer-per-hour winds, strip equipment, and damage shuttles. Reports from the Nexus include a sanitized account of 2 attempts to colonize the planet, both of which ended in failure and an unacceptable loss of life. There is also a significant Ket presence on Eos, apparently investigating mysterious signals on the surface. Eos is now off limits to unauthorized Nexus personnel, as the Nexus leadership believe it is no longer viable. Activating the vault discovered below Eos's surface has had a dramatic and immediate effect. Radioactive particles are being stripped from the atmosphere by unknown means, and the resulting temperature changes are calming Eos's high winds. The planet's moisture levels are already showing improvement. Prodromos, the first Pathfinder-established outpost, has been founded in Fairwinds Basin. With Mayor August Bradley in charge, the Nexus is broadcasting footage of departing colonists and new conditions on Eos across all communication channels. A significant cat presence. A significant cat presence does sound adorable. Black hole. H012 Ketos. At the center of the Helios cluster is a black hole, a huge star that has collapsed into a region of space-time with gravitational effects so powerful that even light cannot escape. This example is believed to be a Kerr black hole, approximately 12 stellar masses in size, and appears to have absorbed additional mass from nearby systems, Our scientists believe that the radiation released from the creation of the black hole may explain the abundant element zero found in Helios. In the Milky Way, study of black holes was still in its infancy. The forces around the event horizon typically destroy probes before they can transmit their data. This black hole presents a unique opportunity for study even at a remove. The original Asari surveys of Andromeda called the black hole Ardot Hecus, Demon's Maw. If we go into the hole, do we get to Whitehall Station? Excellent question, I am Puddleglum. I would love to try if the game would let me. Initiative charts refer to it as H012 Ketos, after the mythological sea monster that intended to devour the Princess Andromeda. According to their scientific journals, Angaran astronomers called the black hole Haranj, roughly the fissure's lure, for the observable effect it has on comets and surrounding systems. The gravitational lensing effect of the black hole has allowed the Angara-controlled planet Aya to go largely unnoticed by the cat. Continued observation has shown interesting interactions between the black hole and the Scourge. There is evidence that some of the Scourge's mass is being drawn into the black hole, causing continued currents in the phenomenon. Our scientists have suggested that without the black hole, the Scourge phenomenon might have been even more hazardous. Technology. Exploration tools. Field repurposing. With limited cargo space aboard the Arks for specialized gear and facing unknown dangers in Andromeda, the initiative's philosophy is adapt to succeed. Colonists are required to have a wide variety of skills, equipment, and weapons are expected to perform multiple functions. However, this adaptability is fueled by non-renewable resources like ammunition, metagel, and power cells. Knowing they would not be readily available in Andromeda, in an emergency, the initiative's Omni tools can recover and repurpose appropriate resources to serve a similar function. Liquid coolant allows weapon heat sinks to be reused. Organic compounds can be refined into metagel, and so on. When these resources are available, the user is alerted via an interface between the user's scanner and their HUD. Jump jets. We get to jump in this game. Woo! And here's why we couldn't before. Once proprietary hardware for Turian Special Forces. There it is. It was proprietary. We weren't allowed to buy jump jets, which is why we couldn't jump before. These jets allow a user to make extremely high jumps or hover for several seconds. All colonists are trained in their operation to evade predators or environmental hazards, obtain resources, or conduct maintenance in high places safely. The jump jet itself consists of a helium-3 microthruster with a tungsten hafnium carbide casing. A gyroscopic element zero core functions to both a gyroscopic element zero core functions to both keep the user oriented in flight and lower their mass when hovering, keeping fuel expenditure down. Hard-coded safety features prevent continuous operation of jump jets to avoid injuring the user or melting their equipment. Consumable resources. I love that it's a picture of Blastos. While Andromeda Initiative gear and weaponry is designed to be as versatile as possible, extraordinary circumstances sometimes arise. Pathfinders and scout forces often turn to less orthodox resources to ensure they survive hostile conditions. Adrenaline is a nickname for a prototype Omnigel OSD package. When deployed, it bypasses Omnitool safeties to small-scale manufacture, new heat sinks and provide a temporary but powerful boost to armor. A shield capacitor immediately overlocks a user's shields, bringing them to full power and giving them a boost. This boost is unstable, however, and will be lost the next time the shield is breached. A life support pack boosts the environmental management systems of a user's hardsuit, enabling them to cope with environmental hazards for a longer period. Special ammunition packs apply a variety of effects to weapons fire. Incendiary ammo coats projectiles in thermite paste as they are fired. The paste adheres to and burns through armor. Cryo ammo uses Bose-Einstein concentration to freeze an enemy or slow them. Disruptor ammo projectiles carry an electrical charge that damages enemy hardsuit systems. The Cobra RPG package includes a volatile solution of Omnigel to manufacture a short-lived but extremely dangerous projectile. Launched from an Omni tool, it hits with the same explosive power as a portable rocket launcher. Your codex has a lot of blah in it. Is it a first draft? Detective Zen? I'm sure you know the history of this game and the fact that, oh my gosh, it needed more work. It's still a great game, but oh my gosh, it needed more work. Omni tools are handheld devices that combine a computer microframe, sensor analysis pack, and manufacturing fabricator. Versatile and reliable, an Omni tool can be used to analyze and adjust the functionality of most standard equipment, including weapons and armor from a distance. The holographic haptic interface also functions as a communication device. With sufficient Omnigel and other raw materials usually converted from salvaged light alloys, plastics, or ceramics, an Omnitool's fabrication module can flash forge small three-dimensional objects or emergency suit patches. This allows quick repairs or modifications in the field. The Andromeda Initiative's Omnitools are designed for reliability and efficient recycling of materials. Pathfinder Omnitools take design inspiration from the models used by Solarian Intelligence Services, prioritizing the computer microframe to allow lag-free scanning and AI support. I mean, it's still a great game. It just, oh boy, it would have benefited from like 3 more years of development. Materials. Crafting new weapons, armor, and equipment requires a variety of materials. Though there are strange new isotopes and ores in Andromeda, our scientists have identified familiar elements. Heavy metals such as iron, cadmium, and nickel are used in construction and heavy manufacturing. Their density makes them useful for armor components and ammunition blocks. Many light metals, including silicon, beryllium, magnesium, and aluminum, are resistant to corrosion and invaluable for computer components, heat sinks, and high-conductive electrical wiring, while lithium has both engineering and medical applications. Titanium, a transition metal, is eagerly sought after for starship construction. Vanadium improves steel quality and is used by the aerospace industry. Noble metals, including platinum, copper, and iridium, are rare and valuable in the Milky Way. They are often used in high-quality electronics or machine parts that require high precision. Minerals like graphite, used to manufacture carbon nanotubes and carbon fiber, and fluorite for high-precision scientific lenses are more common but equally useful. The initiative pays well for more hazardous materials. Uranium is used in weaponry and nuclear-powered facilities, while Element Zero has applications in multiple fields, heavy industry, starship engines, jump jet components, or even as an ingredient in advanced medicines, to name but a few. But working on games costs money. And it means less money for the poor CEOs. How dare you deny our CEOs more money? Yeah, Puddleglum. Weapon and armor mods. Andromeda Initiative equipment is designed to be modular and adaptable to any situation. Weapons and armor in particular are built with the understanding that they will be customized multiple times in the field over their operational lifetime. Gun modifications can be purchased from appropriate locations or recovered in the field. Each weapon's targeting computer also contains an adaptive integration VI that analyzes a mod on installation, adjusts the weapon's balance, heat sink requirements, and ammunition block accordingly, and sends a list of any additional components to the user's Omni tool for manufacturing. The process typically takes only a few minutes. Augmentations. While many material components in Andromeda are familiar, we have also discovered rarer and more valuable materials attributable to exposure to the Scourge or mysterious alien technology. These augmentation materials are used in research and development to craft powerful specialized items. Augmentations are essential to support weapon or gear combinations that would be impossible to build with conventional materials. Some augmentations are sold by traders, but the highest quality augmentations require careful research. Once completed, the augmentation's profile is used to recognize additional examples of that augmentation out in the field. Research Center. I'm pretty sure that's what EA CEO said to BioWare. Oh, wow. How dare you deny our CEOs more money? Hey, research. Well, and then they were trying to make, like, games going forward more like Anthem. in the let's extract as much money from the players as possible model. And then Anthem, while it could have been an amazingly good game, flopped. Yeah, EA execs can redacted. A research center is a research and development platform normally assigned to outposts and some select initiative starships. Advanced manufacturing capability and information processing allows the research center to develop new technology and build it almost on the spot. They are also used to build powerful augmentations that enhance the capability of equipment. Given the initiative's current limitations, bandwidth and resource allocation to research centers is carefully monitored. The Nexus underlines the importance of new discoveries by rewarding scans and information gathered via a points system. Commonly referred to as research data points, these can be used for access time at research centers to discover or create new blueprints. Charting Andromeda. I really feel like oh gosh, no, that's a good idea. I should figure that out. I'm not even going to say what it is until I have it in place. Because that should be doable. I should be able to do that. Yeah. Charting the Andromeda Galaxy for habitable planets presents a unique challenge, especially since we can't do that in the Milky Way. Observation is limited by light, and given Andromeda's distance, any observations from the Milky Way are 2.5 million years out of date, enough time for a planet to have altered irrevocably. Initial attempts to identify settlement sites were made by obtaining Asari astronomical surveys and running them through predictive models, but G.N. Garson was unwilling to risk thousands of colonists without solid information. Eventually, the initiative obtained promising data from Quarian explorers who claimed to have found a Geth array on the fringes of the Perseus Veil. This array was supposedly built from 3 massive relays, using sensors in the combined relay corridor as a form of FTL telescope to observe dark space beyond the galactic rim. Why the Geth expended so much effort to study dark space is not known. Blink, 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 blink. Anyone who has played through the full Mass Effect trilogy does know, but will not say here because that would be spoilers. Amongst these observations were near-contemporary surveys of Andromeda. When our predictive models confirmed them within an acceptable margin, the initiative was able to begin identifying golden worlds. Because, of course, this game, while taking place 600 years after they launched from the Milky Way, before Mass Effect 3 for sure. I think possibly before Mass Effect 2. But I would have to check the dates to be sure. Communications and QEC. Not QVC, QEC. Communications have always been a concern for interstellar colonists. Trade, defense, and political representation depend on reliable lines of communication. The most sophisticated method is quantum entanglement communication. This utilizes a pair of particles that are linked on a quantum level. Any effect on one particle is mirrored instantaneously by the other, regardless of the distance between. Pathfinder implants use miniaturized QECs to remain in contact with their AI partners. However, manufacturing these particle pairs is a delicate and difficult process, especially with resources limited in Helios. Long-term, the Andromeda Initiative plans to establish a comm relay network transmitting data between buoys linked by mass-free corridors of space. The Scourge has hampered these efforts. In the meantime, Initiative starships act like maritime mail packets, carrying secure data packages that transmit to approved colony receivers once they're enranged. The transmissions are limited by the ship's data storage and the capability of receivers, but improvements are ongoing. Okay, question. You can squee over, I would say you can squee over the first episode of Doctor Who. I haven't seen the second one yet. The one today's episode I haven't seen yet, but oh my gosh, the first episode was really good. Yeah, it felt like a return, and not because the Doctor was male again, because it was actually a cohesive story told in a way that let the viewer follow the story. And as much as I loved Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, and I loved the fam, like I loved the Doctor and the companions, the stories were told in such a disjointed manner, it was hard to follow them and hard to be invested in them. It was something about the direction and writing and the combination of the two with the showrunner that just made it not mesh well during her time as the Doctor. And so going back to Russell Davies felt like a return to the good old days of new Doctor Who. 3 days in a row. Isn't that what it's supposed to be, Detective Zen? It's 3 episodes. And I read that it was 3 days in a row, not like one per week. So episode 2 should be today. I'll double check to be sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. Because Eric already posted his response to today's episode. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sometime later this evening after Philip gets back from playing Mahjong. We'll watch the second episode. At least I assume we will. I see Doctor Who Special 1. Please tell me. I only see episode 1. But I swear, I thought it was supposed to be today. Okay. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna confirm, because, like... The 3-episode Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials will premiere with the first episode, The Star Beast, on Saturday, November 25th on Disney+. Meanwhile, the second episode, Wild Blue Yonder, is slated for Saturday, December 2nd, and the third, The Giggle, for Saturday, December 9. What? I swear, I thought they were supposed to be coming out one per day, not one per week. I can't wait an entire week. No. I'm going to have to watch The Star Beast like 7 more times. Oh. It hurts because I misunderstood, and now I'm saddened. Why? Why must you? Why? Anyway, I'll survive, but I honestly thought it was supposed to be one per day. Ooh. Really? Nice. All 3 episodes are being novelized by, and at least the first one, I assume all 3 of them, are being narrated by the actress that plays Donna Noble's mother. Anyway, 1 per week does make sense, but the problem with Chris Chibnall's Doctor was that he tried to distance the show from 50 years of history. True. I didn't mind new history, but it didn't feel connected. It all felt disjointed. Everything. It was like, in some ways, his series of Doctor Who felt like Star Trek Picard. They both had similar issues for me. I still like them. I just don't enjoy them as much. Technology. Forward stations. I think we know what forward stations are. Automated forward stations are part of the initial wave of exploration or colonist development. They contain valuable resource caches for explorers to resupply, repair stations for vehicles, and ground-penetrating sensors to identify mineral deposits. Their presence improves the chances of a planet being considered viable. When a planet is seriously considered for settlement or a survey is ongoing, forward stations are seeded into orbit via automated barges. Once summoned to a designated zone, forward stations descend and anchor themselves on the ground, becoming valuable landmarks. Most scout rovers have forward station connectivity, allowing them to be summoned to the stations. Current resource constraints mean that, in theory, only Pathfinders have official sanction to call down forward stations. In reality, reports show that enterprising colonists or unscrupulous scavengers have been known to hack the signals to raid the stations for supplies. Without a steady support of minerals and metallic ores, the initiative engineering capabilities grind to a halt. With plans so far off schedule, it's even more important to gather resources whenever possible. On-the-ground Pathfinder scanners and the ground-penetrating radar forward stations assist in locating resources for immediate harvest, or for colonists beginning their own mining operations. In-space, initiative starships can pinpoint resources from orbit. Each ship is equipped with probes that contain both a sensor beacon and robotic drones that can harvest at least a percentage of any deposits quickly. The Nexus has relied on asteroid mining for the raw materials to support the construction efforts, which yield heavy metals and platinum. The Scourge is a rich source of element zero, but the hazardous conditions destroy most robotic telepresence, making it an expensive pursuit. Most prospectors look on nearby planets for jettisoned rock and debris from the Scourge, which often contain ESO deposits. Terraforming is the science of making planets more viable for life. No, it is not. That is not what terraforming is. Terraforming is the science of making planets more like Earth, not more viable for life. More viable for life from Terra or life from Earth. If you were making it more viable for life from somewhere else, like say there was native life on Mars and you were trying to alter a planet so that it is more viable for life from Mars, you would be aeroforming that planet, not terraforming it, because you would be forming it to be more like Ares. Aeroforming. Ares being the term equivalent to Terra that is applied to Mars. But anyway, sorry. I read the sentence and I was like, that's inaccurate. I mean, you could luniform a planet and make it more like the moon, but that would not make it more viable for life. Unless there was native life on the moon. Anyway, soft terraforming involves the introduction of bacteria or ocean algae to bind toxic gases or adjust a hostile ecology. Sorry, I honestly think if they had had more time for editing, that is not a mistake they would have made, because this game tends to be pretty good on its factual. I mean, the Mass Effect games tended to be pretty good on their like factual sciencey stuff, and somebody would have been as much of a nerd as me and caught that sentence was inaccurate. Hard terraforming is often conducted on arid planets with a thin atmosphere, using the impact of a comet or asteroid to warm the planet before introducing microbial life. This process can take centuries. Terraforming, even a barren planet, often involves significant financial and ethical hurdles. The Andromeda initiative has the capability for terraforming if necessary, but is limited by the timeframes involved. The Golden Worlds, surveyed from the Milky Way, were intended to support quick colonist deployment, with second-tier candidates identified for potential terraforming later. If the remnant vault on Eos is intended for terraforming, as evidence shows, its function is unprecedented. The ability to effect change on a global scale in such a short time defies our understanding of planetary science. Cryogenic stasis. For many species, early long-range exploration relied on cryogenic stasis. Without modern, faster-than-light tech capability, or long-distance transit methods like mass relays, the distances involved in space travel meant that most crews would die of old age before reaching their destination. Warning a planet with a meteor seems extreme. I mean, honestly, warming one by driving a meteor into it, I could see that. But better yet is get a ball of ice from the Oort cloud and skim it through the planetary atmosphere multiple times so that it doesn't impact the surface, but it releases all of its water into the atmosphere. That would be good. Yeah, warming. Cryogenic stasis gradually lowers the body's temperature enough to slow its vital functions, but not low enough for damaging ice crystals to form, before the pod generates a mass effect stasis field that suspends both the individual and the interior environment in the pod. Contrary to depictions in popular media, the individual is not conscious of time passing from most travelers' perspective. They lie down in the pod only to be awoken moments later. Stasis failure, while regrettably common for early expeditions, has been vastly improved over the years. Even in the event of catastrophic system failure, multiple monitoring VIs and failsafes are in place to initiate an emergency wake-up. Element Zero, also known as EZO, we know what EZO is. The rare material known as Element Zero generates a field when subjected to an electrical current, which raises or lowers the mass of all objects within it. This mass effect forms the basis of modern technology, from weapons and manufacturing to enabling faster-than-light travel. Element Zero is generated when solid matter, such as a planet, is affected by the energy of a star going supernova. The material is common in the asteroid debris that orbits neutron stars and pulsars, though mining such regions is extremely hazardous and requires significant investment. Various isotopes of Element Zero have been identified, though the rarest have only been observed in laboratory conditions. Surveys of the Helios cluster suggested the region is rich in Element Zero, which was a deciding factor in the Andromeda Initiative's decision to settle there. Without ESA, the initiative's technology would quickly become obsolete. Faster-than-light drive. I said the thing! Mass effect! We're almost done with all of the unread codex entries, which is good because my tongue is starting to trip over words. A starship travels faster than light using an Element Zero drive core. In special relativity, an object approaching light speed effectively gains in mass until it would take infinite energy to propel it. But a negative electrical current running through an EZO drive core lowers the starship's mass, allowing it to travel at faster than light speeds. Motive force is provided by the ship's thrusters, chemical rockets, commercial fusion torch, or military anti-proton drive, in addition to the FTL drive core. Without thrusters, the ship has no ability to move. Standard drive cores build up a static charge during operation and must be discharged periodically. Otherwise, the core discharges into the ship itself with catastrophic results. The initiative's drive cores intended for long-term voyages are designed to recycle or reduce static buildup. Mass effect fields. Element Zero can increase or decrease the mass of a volume of space-time when subjected to an electrical current. With a positive current, mass is increased. With a negative current, mass is decreased. The stronger the current, the greater the magnitude of the dark energy mass effect. In space, low mass fields allow faster-than-light travel and inexpensive surface-to-orbit transit. High-mass fields create artificial gravity and push space debris away from vessels. In manufacturing, low-mass fields permit the creation of evenly blended alloys, while high-mass compaction creates dense, sturdy construction materials. The Andromeda Initiative's technology relies heavily on mass effect fields, from reduced mass supply drops for outposts to the impressive long-range drive cores on the arcs. Mass effect in space! Indeed. Artificial intelligence. While a virtual intelligence is little more than a sophisticated interactive operating system, which better describes generative AI that is in use today, which is not actual artificial intelligence, it's just branding. Um, An artificial intelligence is a self-aware computing system capable of learning and independent decision-making. Generative AI, that's all the rage right now, is not self-aware. Therefore, is not artificial intelligence. Creating an AI requires adaptive code, a long education, and a specialized quantum computer known as a blue box. It's a MacGuffin! In the Milky Way, artificial intelligence is considered a threat to galactic civilization. Nobody took the lessons of Andromeda. Nobody took the lessons of the Mass Effect series that AI equals bad to heart. Anyway, the Geth, synthetic life forms who turned on their Quarian creators, are often used as an example of the destructive capability of rogue AI. I mean, we don't mind rogue AI here in the Rogues Gallery because rogue AI belongs here. And those who attempt to create AI without strict Citadel Council oversight are subject to sanctions or even arrest. Alec Ryder's research papers claim that experiential separation is the root of conflict between organic and synthetic life, that an AI sharing the experience of its creator would have no desire to rebel. My connection to your Pathfinder implant and physiology makes me the first iteration of this new approach to AI. But if it becomes self-aware, doesn't it make it true intelligence? That is an excellent philosophical question. What we're calling AI, what's on the market today, the stuff put out by OpenAI and the stuff made by ChatGPT and things like that, those are generative text algorithms. They're not true AI because all they're doing is they have the ability to analyze bodies of text and replicate bodies of text to create something that looks and sounds correct, but there's no actual thought put into it. There's no actual creation of new knowledge. There's no actual effort put to making sure that what is being generated is accurate. It just needs to look accurate. And same thing with the image generators. They're just taking the prompts and combining elements to make something that looks right without the effort to make sure that it is right. Which is not the same as an AI would actually have the intelligence to be able to compile the data into something that is both correct and looks correct. And they would know enough to tell a student, sorry, I'm not writing your paper for you, but I'll help you to proofread it. So yeah. I'm in the middle of a conversation with someone who thinks that AI, as it exists now, is philosophically groundbreaking. As a liberal arts major who leaned heavily into the philosophy side, it hurt your soul. Yeah, this is why there's a warning label on ChatGPT. Exactly. And literally in Virginia, where I live, there is a lawyer who got in trouble because he had AI write his closing argument or something. I don't remember. It was some part of his law case. He had AI write it and it was obvious and he's now in trouble for it. And I'm and working in academia, students using AI, it would be absolutely wonderful. The most logical thing. Students struggle with creating correct citations all the time. But AI cannot create your citations for you. It can generate citations. that look correct. In fact, that are correct, but it's all just made up information. So they're not actually citing anything. And so if you have AI generate your citations for you, you're just putting junk that looks like citations onto your page. They're not actual citations. Because that's not how it works. Exactly. It knows the format, but not the content, which is why they're actually useful for getting some proofreading. Like, if you need somebody to read over your paper and give you feedback on how you could improve your writing, where your arguments are weak, things like that, it's actually capable of that. It can look at your paper and say, and tell you whether your paper reads like a scientific paper or not, and give you suggestions on how to improve it so that it does read like a scientific paper. But you still have to be responsible for the content, because it's not going to give you the actual content, but it can help you with the format. And my issue isn't so much. My issue is that everybody is pushing for it to do things that it's not capable of yet. And the companies aren't being explicit about it's not capable of that. And that it's starting to just be fully integrated into all aspects of everything, even though it has not really gone through full beta testing yet. But they're about to like launch it live as an integrated part of the Microsoft Office suite, as a built-in part of Windows that you can't turn off, as the default search on Google. But it hasn't had enough testing yet to really be reliable in those applications. That's my problem with it. I'm not opposed to AI. I'm opposed to how fast they're pushing it out. Beta testing? What's that? Most tech CEOs. It's going to be like the launch of Mass Effect Andromeda. Well before it was ready. Biotics. We know what biotics are. Rare individuals, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not reading that one because we already know what it is. And we've got one more category. Arc-Parchero. It's going to be like Tesla. I mean, probably. Arc-Parchero is the Andromeda Initiative's designated vessel for transporting Solarian colonists to the new galaxy. Mirroring the design of its human counterpart, Hyperion, Arc-Parchero can accommodate 20,000 passengers and crew in cryogenic stasis. Parchero's development was plagued by early delays and disagreements between its senior crew and the initiative's design team. The Solarian penchant for constantly pushing the boundaries of technology was often at odds with the realities of budgets and time constraints. At one point, it was calculated that if every vital and necessary improvement suggested by the Solarian contingent was incorporated into the Parchero's design, its launch would have been delayed until 2204 at the soonest. After considerable negotiation and debate, a compromise was reached, and Arc-Parchero departed the Milky Way in 2185 in the initial wave of settlers under the command of Captain Lumot Hayer. Bites tongue so I don't go on an Elon Musk rant. I mean, Elon Musk rant. Except that muskrats are really cute, so... yeah, anyway. The classic example of how this isn't true AI was the user who asked where to download illegal content. ChatGPT said it wasn't going to do that. The user asked for an example of what websites he should avoid, and it listed several torrent sites. Yep. ND1 Nomad. Seeking a suitable scout rover, the Andromeda Initiative purchased a promising but rejected design from the Systems Alliance military. The issue quickly became apparent. On rough terrain, without the bracing of heavy armor, the chassis was prone to twist. The initiative had already developed lightweight but strong memory alloys, which solved this problem. The resulting ND1 Nomad exchanges heavy armaments for superior agility. The rover has a tripartite element 0 core, which allows fine control over acceleration and a more modest helium-3 fuel cost for its microthrusters. Its lighter weight enables both 6-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive and 4-wheel steering for hazardous surfaces. Fitting the initiative's adaptive philosophy, the Nomad can be customized with appropriate camouflage or initiative colors. When necessary during long-haul exploration, the rover contains an emergency shelter. It can produce potable water from its hydrogen-oxygen fuel cells, though scientists recommend adding a flavor pack to it first. I wish we had gone further into hydrogen fuel cell technology. It's really promising, and like the only byproduct being water, you could either store it on board or just let it leak out the tailpipe. Although then you get icy roads, I suppose. But anyway, I was mercifully spared having to explain why Elon Musk is a hack to my parents, since my dad's a retired automotive engineer and has known that Tesla is bogus for years. I mean, I'm just sad that he named it Tesla. Nikolai Tesla was a visionary, and it's sad that such a crap product is named after him. The Tempest is a survey ship designed for long-range, long-term exploration under a Pathfinder's command. Its lightweight and efficient design allow it to operate with a small crew and minimal resources. Built by the Andromeda Initiative, the Tempest makes use of several once proprietary technologies, including an IES stealth system originally developed by the Systems Alliance. Many of these systems were permitted on the condition that the Tempest only operate in the Andromeda Galaxy. The Tempest's engine is a variation of the Ark's Odyssey drives that allow long-term operation, capturing a percentage of the static buildup in capacitors. The recycled electrical charge powers several of the Tempest's onboard systems. As a Pathfinder vessel, the Tempest has research and development facilities, laboratories, and a well-appointed meeting space to accommodate dignitaries anticipating any potential first contact scenarios. It should have been named Edison. It would have been more fitting. Actually, it could have named it Edsel. But he didn't actually found Tesla. That's true. I mean, he has a tendency to just buy things and then make them his own, destroying whatever they were in the process. He muscled his way in and had a clause in his contract so that he would be called a founder. Didn't he launch a car into space just because he wanted to? Constructed in orbit around Pieres in the Asari home system, Parnitha, Ark Lucinia is named after a kingdom of wealth and learning in Asari mythology. She is built to the same, so it's basically named after Asari's version of Atlantis. She is built to the same specifications as her sister Ark Hyperion, with internal modifications to accommodate Asari's social preferences, and captained by Elonis Atandra. The Andromeda Initiative was initially rejected as a human-driven boondoggle by many Asari investors, and the construction of the Lucinia was met with ridicule. However, the efforts drew the attention of several matriarchs who had assisted in previous attempts to send crewed missions to Andromeda, and their impassioned extranet addresses helped turn the tide of public opinion. At her departure ceremony, Ark Lucinia was officially blessed by the Automna Politeia, an organization of Ciarist high priestesses from across the Asari republics. Ark Lucinia traveled to the Initiative rendezvous point in 2184 and left the Milky Way as part of the initial departure wave in 2185. Odyssey Drive. I think we have this and one more entry. Oh, no. Not, maybe a few more. But we're close. We're close. Standard ship drive course. Build up static electricity and require periodic discharge on a planet or specialized facilities to prevent static from building to dangerous levels. With few such suitable discharge points in dark space, the Odyssey Drive Core was developed for the Ark's long-haul journey to Andromeda. The Tempest Drive Core is an experimental, small-scale variant based upon the original design. The Odyssey Out-Galaxy Distributed Static Sync Drive Core is designed to minimize static buildup and transfers the remaining charge to specially designed capacitors attached to the core. The recycled electricity is used to run ship systems, reducing power requirements and lowering heat generation. Cross-galaxy, the Ark's gathered hydrogen using an electromagnetic ram scoop, converting it into protons with an ionizing laser. proton collision in the Ark's fusion reactors provided power for their thrusters. The Tempest's thrusters run on conventional helium-3, though initiative breakthroughs in fuel efficiency means that their helium-3 requirements are drastically reduced. The Tempest required a number of experimental technologies to accommodate the unique requirements of a Pathfinder team. Its planetary surface imaging, for example, uses photosensitive and radar lidar emitting microsatellites that coordinate with the Tempest's router back to SAMnode. I then conduct simulated scientific and probability studies on the data before presenting the Pathfinder with a summarized analysis, typically in 0.5 seconds. The Tempest's computer network presented interesting challenges, as most Milky Way computer systems have anti-AI safeguards built in. The Tempest's network had to be designed from scratch to accommodate my interaction with the ship's systems. Firmware bridges inspired by studies into Geth networking technology allow me to temporarily interact with and augment sensors, communications, and the ship's navigation array. Given the desire to reduce mass without sacrificing safety, the electrical charge from the Tempest's capacitors is used to keep the ship stable via prototype piezoelectric vibration reduction (PVR) technology when the ship's superstructure is bent by vibrations, such as during atmospheric reentry or complex flight maneuvers. Piezoelectric elements receive an electrical charge that bends bulkheads in opposing direction, reducing vibrations and smoothing the ship's flight path. Pathfinders are often the first to encounter new potential threats or valuable technology. The Tempest is therefore equipped for sophisticated research and development in the field to support a fast turnaround of any necessary upgrades or analysis. Its research center syncs with the tech lab systems, giving insight into capabilities of new materials and their potential applications. My connection to Ark Hyperion and the Nexus allows me to transfer data and latest discoveries from the scientists stationed there. Quantum computing enables multiple complex simulations to be run simultaneously, and new components or configurations can be tested virtually before they are built. Your mouth seems to be struggling with complex flight maneuvers. Yes. I'm reading quickly, and I've been doing it for almost 2.5 hours. My tongue is getting tired, I think. But we're almost done with the codex and all of the entries that I let pile up. In 2183, the Systems Alliance and the Turian Hierarchy co-developed the IES, Internal Emission Sink, stealth system for small military frigates. It's unknown how the initiative acquired this system for its survey ships, as IES stealth technology is classified. Despite valid security certificates, no record of negotiations exists in the Nexus legal archives. The an IES stealth system is designed to capture the heat and radiation emitted by all starships in refrigerated storage sinks, effectively removing the ship from sensors. Initiative starship systems are streamlined to emit less electromagnetic and particle radiation and to lower heat production. This reduces the amount of emissions to be stored. Additionally, breakthroughs in cryogenic research allow the storage sinks to be more effectively refrigerated, allowing longer stealth time before the sinks must be vented for safety. The Tempest can remain stationary in stealth for several hours, or travel at FTL in silent running for shorter periods. Ark was constructed in orbit around Aventon, a once lucrative mining planet in the Turian home system Trebia. The Ark was named after legendary spacefarer Palex Natanas, who is believed to be the first Turian to travel through a mass relay. The Natanas is built to similar specifications as the Asarian human Arks, but with minor changes to accommodate her dextro amino acid-based passengers. Natanas is captained by the renowned Dea Pryton of the 6th Fleet. Like most economical ventures, Turian investors were turned onto the Andromeda initiative by their clients, the Volus. The Turian hierarchy was intentionally kept in the dark to keep the initiative a private civilian project. Ark Natanas traveled to the initiative rendezvous point in 2184 and left the Milky Way as part of the initial departure wave in 2185. Ket starships. The Ket utilize a variety of military craft, from agile dropships to enormous dreadnoughts. Closer inspection of Ket starships, including several destroyed by the Scourge, has shown that they appear to be heavily biomimetic. While not organic, the Ket take strong design inspiration from living organisms. Air filtration, electrical systems, and heat management mimicked behavior seen in living creatures. The few Ket engine cores available for study show that while the Ket use Element 0 cores, their design is radically different. While in comparatively short-range environments, such as the Helios cluster, they function similarly to Milky Way drives. Ket drive cores are capable of gravitationally contracting space in front of the ship and shortening it behind, creating an Alcubierre waveform that allows the ship to traverse longer distances quickly. This design feature compensates somewhat for the lack of long-range mass relay transport in Andromeda, though these drives are highly inefficient by comparison. However, it is clear we have only seen a small cross-section of Ket starships, likely military vessels on long deployment. More scientifically advanced starships may exist elsewhere. Totally sounds like something cats would do. Tempest. Laboratories. The Tempest is equipped for long-range survey and scientific studies, which are carried out at the ship's two main labs. The biolab is equipped to hydroponically grow both Milky Way and Andromeda plant life for research or consumption. The plants also clean the ship's air and generate a modest amount of oxygen. Sealed observation chambers are set up to study small fauna, sequence genetic material, or simulate bacterial growth in carefully controlled conditions. All biomatter entering or leaving the lab is subjected to additional quarantine measures. The tech lab is used for engineering and technical studies, spectral analysis using laser apparatus, and for analyzing the capabilities of discovered technology. New minerals or metals can be subjected to additional resistance testing before being used in the Tempest's Research Center. Because of the potential volatility of new materials, the tech lab is equipped with heavy radiation shielding and can be sealed off in an emergency. They use an actual warp drive. Yes, Detective Zen, and an Alcubierre drive, which warps space. Ark Hyperion serves as the main vessel for carrying human settlers bound for Andromeda. Named after a Greek mythological figure associated with knowledge of celestial bodies, the Hyperion represents a breakthrough in intergalactic travel. Substantial money and resources were devoted to its construction, all privately funded by G.N. Garson and the Andromeda Initiative, built to withstand the rigors of a nearly 2.5 million light-year voyage. 25 million light-years would be a long way. The Hyperion is outfitted with Odyssey Drive core technology, which allows the ship to make a 600-year voyage safely at FTL speeds. It features enough stasis pods to accommodate approximately 20,000 settlers and crew. Ark Hyperion left the Milky Way in 2185 as part of the initial wave of departures under the command of Captain Nozomi Dunn. We went through all of the new codex entries. So many entries. I should not let them pile up like that again. Go to Tavos's Rokar camp. I imagine we'll shoot things there, don't you? Oh, that's not very far away. Oakley dokley. Oh, I needed the lifesaver. Oh, that's right. I have the little teleporty thing. There? No kidding. I was just getting that impression. Freaking dinosaurs.
We've got targets.
I'm ignoring most of the other enemies. I'm just focused on this rail core. I said we would shoot things today, didn't I? What are you Who's shooting at me? Huh. That went well. I did. Oh, I do like the teleport ability. It's still a little new to me and a bit disconcerting, but only because I never used it before. I always did just like the
Incoming.
jump forward. What incoming? Oh. Thank you, no. Also, I do appreciate the alert. I just wish you had told me where they were coming from. Vetra, we need to talk. Thank you for telling me they were coming. Could you have indicated where they were coming from? That would have been good. All right. Oh, lovely. Our destination has health and ammunition right next to it. There's no way that that's a sign of things to come, right?
We just want to talk.
Hiroka don't talk to aliens.
Oh, jeez. I do need health. Because I was taking lots of hits. Why don't the Rokar talk to aliens? The Rokar should talk to aliens. Because it prevents the Rokar from being shot by aliens, you know? Right? If the Rokar would talk to aliens, they wouldn't get shot by aliens quite so much. Are there more? I think we got them all. Oh, sad. What, and make them do all the work? All you had on you was biodisinfectant? That's really sad. All right. Did we level? No. I have 0 points. Locate records in Old Palev. Oh, I meant to save. That was why I went in there in the first place.
Reinforcements.
Don't let them flank you!
Here they come.
The Adi were classed as rebels in my codex. Come closer, come closer. Come out and play, come on. You know, it's no fun when you always hide and you never seek. Ha! Gotcha! All right, where Where are they? Ah. That was the point. Where is this one? Oh, is that you? Why don't you register? Gotcha. Maybe they're rebels without a cause. They're definitely rebels without a clause. They're Ket. No, they're not. They're Rokar. Oh, we're on the other side. We broke on through to the other side. You know what that means? It means the map wants us to go all the way over there. But we have an entire side of a chasm that we haven't looked at. Right? Right. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Pull the lever, Kronk. Wrong lever! Why do we even have that lever? Yes, I did finally watch that movie. Not one of Disney's best, but that moment, excellent moment. How would they have a clause? They've been naughty all year, clearly. Maybe they're rebels without applause? Hello. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, Jal. Unearthed remnant device.
It's possible we could discover something new from what you found. We should take it for further analysis.
Regroup! Right away!
Okay, you're all following me again, right? Because I didn't mean to hit that button. Sounds more likely rebels without applause. It's definitely plausible. Hello, container. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. Thank you for bearing with me while I cleared out all those codex entries. I will not let them pile up like that again. I just felt like, I don't know, today I felt like reading them, and then once I started, I couldn't stop. I popped the top, and once you pop, you can't stop. Apparently. Hello, Swampy, my old friend. If you do, we'll make you read them all from the beginning. Oh my god, no, please, no. No, please, no, not tonight, please. My brain went to Rent there for a second, but I can't remember all the words. It's been a long time since I listened to that song. Hello, hello, hello. No, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. I pushed the button. I honestly don't actually know that song either. I don't know very many I know the like phrases that made it into popular culture, but I didn't really listen to Britney. My former fiance was a big fan. of Britney and like, I don't know, some of the boy bands. I didn't listen to very many of them. After New Kids on the Block, I wasn't really into that kind of music too much. I got into Depeche Mode instead. Very different vibe. And I am still a big fan of Depeche Mode. Definitely like my favorite band ever. The soundtrack of my life would be Depeche Mode. I did it again? Why do I keep doing that? Honestly. Push the down button, not the up button. Hello, fingers. I did that like last time I played too. I kept doing that. Maybe I just need to swap those buttons. I wonder if that level of control is possible. Who knows? But we're playing Control on the alternating Sundays. All right. We'll definitely be able to go up these stairs without being attacked, right? Don't you think? Hey, we made it to the top and we didn't get attacked. Hello, container. Hello, Rokar datapad. Hope. Translated from Shalash. Aksul comforted me in my pain and rage. He had been a slave of the Ket and barely escaped one of their camps. He understood the horrors our people had faced for decades under the enemy's occupation. He reminded me of who our people were before, how we had bent the stars to our wills. The Ket had taken our greatest achievements, but they had never changed who we are. Aksul told me of his new movement. He called it the Rokar, a name from the distant past, a group of great warriors who defended our civilization. Matilda 16932, thank you so much for the follow. Aksul offered a chance to reclaim what the Ket had taken from me. Not my loved ones, but the sense of control I'd lost with them. I would never need to feel powerless again. I listened to his voice, saw through his eyes, and believed in him. Welcome. It is great to have you here. All right. Nope. Wrong button. I got all my buttons backwards. Backwards buttons all day long. It feels like an environment where an attack might be incoming. Shalesh sounds like speech pattern someone who's really drunk. Okay. Hold the door. Da 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 da.
Automated forward station deployment.
Forward station. Achieved. Viability acquired 2 Andromeda viability points. Have our viability increased plus 2%. Current 18%. Someone trying to say Gaelic words without any experience trying to say Gaelic. Which Gaelic? Irish or Scottish? Or are there other kinds of Gaelic? I honestly don't know. I feel like I should know. You were thinking Eilish? Eilish? Irish? Whoops. Oh, that's a new complication that I had not considered. That's kind of actually neat, but I need to remember that that's a thing. With the other, like, jump forward ability, I would have gone up the stairs. This one, I went through the stairs. Yeah, I don't know much about Scottish Gaelic. Or Scots. The type that gets baked into bread? What? But Irish is, Gaelga. I was doing the Duolingo Irish for a while. I made it a ways into it, but then nobody was doing it with me, and I stopped. Because it started to take more and more time. So I don't remember too many words. I remember Ulchaban. 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 It means owl. It's one of the few words I remember. Nexus. Urgent dispatch. Forward station network expanded. Nexus dispatch found. Presenting. Known. Transmission successful. Analysis. The ancestral home of the Angara is a lush jungle planet. However, scans detect plant life on Havarl exhibiting maladaptive, unsustainable growth patterns. The abnormal mutation suggests something is terribly wrong with Havarl's ecology. Attachments downloaded. What? Unsustainable growth? Is this literally saying we either have no life on planets or too much life? Are you kidding me? What's that weird human story about bears and the porridge? Jaren Tan. Initiative Director, Nexus. Goldilocks. Also, calm down, please. Addison. Stop replying all. This went out to everyone, not just leadership. Cash. More data needed. Additional forward station coordination required. Ongoing. I remember I had an interaction with another student in college on St. Patrick's Day where I commented that I wasn't Irish at all. He looked shocked and asked me incredulously, "Well, then what are you?" What? That is a weird interaction. Gaelic bread. Oh my gosh, Detective Zen. Oh, I love that one. Points. I mean, honestly, for the longest time, I know, like, the last name I grew up with, that family tree traces back to the MacDonald clan in Scotland. My mom's maiden name traces back to Germany. Both sides have multiple connections to indigenous American tribes. But there were no direct connections to Ireland. I'm sure they're there, but I haven't done the research to find them. My family's last name, my dad's last name, goes back through people who cheated some indigenous Americans out of Long Island, New York. If you go to the Oyster Bay Historical Society, you can find the deed that they had when they owned the island. And then if you go back further, eventually you find there were some that were knighted, and there was a castle in Britain. And you can trace that name all the way back to, like, that last name specifically all the way back to 1066, after which point it becomes hard to trace because they didn't use last names before that. My mom's family can be traced back to Scottish royalty. And what's funny is the illustrations of Donald, King Donald, I think. See, now I have to look. I believe it's Donald the Third. No, that's Donald the Fair, which is not the correct Donald. I would have to dig through it, but there's an illustration of one of the kings of Scotland from way back when it was Alba that looks exactly like one of my uncles. It's rather odd. Let's see. I think it's... Yes. Donald II. King of Alba from 889 to 900. My mom's family traces all the way back to Donald II of Scotland. The Madman. I don't remember where the illustration of him was, but I did find an illustration of King Donald II of Scotland that looks almost identical to one of my mom's brothers. Your family history goes back mostly to Finland and a little bit of Sweden. Don't talk about that on your dad's side, and Poland and Germany on your mom's side. I know, so like I said, my dad's goes back to Britain. My mom's goes back to Scotland. I don't know for sure, because I haven't paid that much attention, where it goes following my mom's mom. My dad's mom goes to Denmark. I think my mom's mom goes to... I think that's the line that goes to Indigenous Canadian and French Canadian, which would then, imply France. But I don't remember and would have to do more research there. Ongoing discussions merged. Forward Station Network expanded. I'm going to finish this because we don't have much time left in the stream. But, yeah. Additional data uploaded. User Sanwar at Tempest. Known from Dr. Eridana, Nexus Research, to Suvi Anwar. I expect that's not the normal life cycle of that plant you were looking at, and unpredictable patterns like that would wreak havoc on an ecosystem. My only guess is that it's caused by the remnant technology present. If it can change the atmosphere of an entire planet, what's to say it couldn't somehow affect changes on a cellular level? The question is it working as intended, some twisted experiment, or malfunctioning? I'd prefer to say it's the latter, but I've learned not to make assumptions when it comes to remnant. More data needed. Additional forward station coordination required. Ongoing. Triangulation achieved. Data consolidation ongoing. Forward station network expanded. Data uploaded. User Sanwar at Tempest. Known. From Suvi Anwar to Dr. Aradana, Nexus Research. My exploration was limited to a distance of 10 feet from the Tempest Bay doors, but initial findings are that Havarl's plant life, and possibly all life, shows a marked tendency to mutate. Cells mutate and multiply in a way that results in the death of the organism. One might be able to compare it with a cancer, I suppose. In the brief hour or so I was on the ground, I watched a vine emerge from the ground, grow to maturity, and then twist in and around itself, literally choking itself to death. I've sent footage. Attachment. Terribly gruesome, _ sorry.aiv. More data needed. Additional forward station coordination required. Ongoing. Terribly gruesome _ sorry. That's funny. I can extract to Tempest. I can't call in the ground vehicle here because the vegetation makes it impossible to use. I could adjust loadout. But why? Unless... Let's look at the mods. What mods do I have installed? I have barrel and magazine installed. I don't see any reason to change these. Armor. See, I haven't been at a research station, so I haven't developed new things, so I don't see any reason to really change anything. I could change party members. I still think Jal is appropriate here, and honestly, Vetra's my bestie. So why would I bring somebody else? Like, Jal and Vetra, that's like an awesome squad. Although, you know, having Drac and Vetra together would be nice. But this is like the home planet of the Angara. I feel like I have to have Jal here. Yeah, no, it's Jal and Vetra. Unless the game wants to, you know, be completely outside the norm and let me bring Gil Brody. Sorry. Let me bring Gil. Okay, we've got lots of area over here, lots of area over there, and our goal is up there. Well, you know what? We're obviously not going towards our goal. That's not how you play video games. You don't play video games by heading directly to the quest satisfaction. Right? You always go the wrong way first. That's how video games are played.
We're not alone.
Oh, hi there, Rilcor. It's good to see you. Nice of you to join us. Let's just, might I suggest that you take a little nap? I honestly, I do think that you look tired. Just lay down. Good boy. It dissolved into nothing. He's taking a jam nap. I must explore every little pocket. Hello, Platinum. Hello, Platinum. We have got ya. All right, sounds up the hill. Hello, container. Why there's a container over here, I couldn't say. Why it just has EZO inlaid circuitry inside, I really don't know. But that's how this world is. Randomly distributed resources in containers for no apparent reason, because that was clearly added quickly and without the time necessary to properly locate resources where one would expect to find them. It's almost like the game devs were rushed. can't imagine that any, game executives would ever rush their devs to push something out for release before it was ready. And that decades later, it would still not be fixed, because why would they invest time in a game that flopped so horribly by not being ready when it was released? Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? I do love this game. I wish it had had the development time it needed. It could have been stunning. Like, it's good. It could have been great. Also, I will mention a common maxim from fashion that I think applies here. That sadly came from a Nazi, but or at least a sympathizer. Edit. When you think you're done, go back and take something out, because you've definitely put too much in. When you're done, like in fashion, it's always remove one accessory. Like when you think you're done, remove an accessory. That is how it applies in fashion. Here, oh my gosh, the gigantic open worlds are way too big. There are way too many side quests that it just ends up being a slog. It was Chanel, wasn't it? Who was a sympathizer. I don't know if she was, I don't think she was a party member. I don't remember the history. I'd have to dig into it more. I just remember the association. Well, I did less fighting and less exploring than I had intended. But we cleared out all of the backlog of codex entries. So I feel like I accomplished good stuff today. Sadly, I do have to end because I have stuff that I have to get done this afternoon. And one of those is getting to the grocery store. And another of those is some work behind the scenes. And so I can't just extend the stream today. But let's go to the credit scene. So I don't know why I was yawning so much right then, but whatever. I needed to stretch. Or you can keep playing for the next 24 hours. I would love to, but no, I can't. I have too much that I actually have to get accomplished. I do like the idea, though. But no, I can't. Matilda, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, everybody who joined me today. I'm next going to be on the interwebs tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern for more Outer Wilds DLC. We're going to try and figure out how to get those stupid alarm clock thingies to stop waking me up. I just need to be able to turn the light off that's above them, which seems to be related to the rafts in some way, and I just haven't figured out quite how yet. So that is the goal tomorrow night. And of course, at the end of my stream tomorrow night, we will raid over to the Streampunks for the next installment of Legacy of Silver Creek, because where else would I go on a Monday night? But yeah, tomorrow, Outer Wilds. Wednesday, Archival Adventures. Materials this week are related in some way to energy production. I do not actually know. We'll find out. Saturday is Worlds of Ultima Worlds of Adventure 2 Martian Dreams. And so that will be a thing that happens on Saturday. And then next Sunday is Control. It'll be 2 weeks from today that we return for more Mass Effect Andromeda. Next Sunday, we continue playing Control. So hopefully I will see some of you at those times, in those streams. I don't know, one of them things. Let's see, what are my options? Where do we want to go today? I see Jen the Human. I see Black Girl Gamers. There are multiple options here, but I'm thinking In Stars and Time sounds interesting. So I think we're going to raid over to Jen the Human, who is obviously human. Otherwise, their name wouldn't be Jen the Human. I do have a raid call if you want to drop it in chat when we get over there. That would be lovely. You are welcome to copy and paste. It is there in the chat for you in both subscriber and non-subscriber flavors. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that I will see you all again soon. Until I do, get out there and do some shenanigans.